Right now, inside one of the most famous statues in the world, there are thousands of sealed messages written by human hands. Prayers, confessions, names of people who've been dead for 100 years. And they are locked inside, forever, unreachable. Nobody talks about this. And that's not even the darkest part. By the end of this video, you're going to know 3 things that will make you see Christ the Redeemer completely differently. Number 1, the real reason it was built had nothing to do with celebration. It was built out of terror. Number 2, there's a sealed heart inside that statue. And inside that heart, there's a glass jar. And nobody living today knows exactly what's inside it. Number 3, the statue is slowly changing into something darker. And nobody can stop it. Stay with me, because this one goes deep. Welcome to Dark Mysteries. I'm going to tell you the story that the tourist brochures don't include. You've seen the statue. You know the image. Arms wide open, watching over Rio de Janeiro from the top of a 700-meter mountain. But here's the thing about famous things. The more everyone knows the surface, the easier it is to hide what's underneath. And Christ the Redeemer? It has been hiding things since the day they sealed the last stone into place in 1931. Let's start at the very beginning. And I promise you, the beginning is not what you think. The year is 1920. Brazil is in trouble. Not a war, not a plague. Something that, depending on who you asked, felt even worse. God was losing ground. After Brazil became a republic in 1889, the church and the state were officially separated. For decades, a group of Brazilian Catholics watched, nervously as what they called godlessness spread through the cities. The young weren't attending Mass. The culture was shifting, and they were terrified. So they made a decision. If God was being forgotten, they would build something so enormous, so impossible to ignore, that nobody could look at the Rio skyline and pretend he wasn't there. They organized what they called Monument Week. They gathered signatures. Over 22,000 women alone signed the petition. This wasn't a government project. This wasn't a gift from France or the Vatican. This was a community that was afraid, pooling everything they owned to build a shield out of concrete and stone. And here's the part that always gets me. They didn't fully know if it was even possible. There were no roads up that mountain, no cranes, no modern equipment, just a narrow railway that had existed since 1884, and hundreds of workers hauling cement, steel, and stone up a 700-meter summit in tropical heat. The storms were brutal. The lightning up there was relentless. And yet, here's a fact that still shocks historians. Not a single worker died during the entire 9 years of construction. Not one. Now you can call that engineering. You can call that luck. Or, if you're the kind of person who finds that suspicious, you can ask yourself, what were they really building up there? Before we go deeper, let me tell you something about what this statue was almost supposed to look like. Because the design you know, the one with the open arms, that wasn't the first idea. The original design had Christ holding a globe in one hand and a cross in the other, standing rigid, authoritative, almost military. The engineer in charge, Hita da Silva Costa, changed it. He wanted something different. He wanted the arms open, welcoming, like the statue was offering the whole city an embrace. That decision, that small human choice about how wide to open a pair of concrete arms, is what turned this into one of the most recognizable images in human history. One man's choice. And the world has never been the same. Now, let's talk about what's inside. Most people don't know this. Even people who stood right underneath it. Inside the chest of Christ the Redeemer, there's a carved heart. It's not large. It's about 1.3 meters, roughly the size of a car door. But it's there, deliberately carved into the concrete, a tribute to the Sacred Heart of Jesus. Now here's where it gets strange. During construction, the builders made a choice that, frankly, sounds like something from a secret society initiation. They took a glass jar. They filled it with documents, a family tree, personal records, items that were meant to represent devotion, or maybe something more. And they sealed that jar, and they put it inside the heart, and they closed it up in concrete. That jar is still in there right now. Think about that. You're looking at this towering image of peace and faith, and inside its chest there is a sealed container with documents from almost 100 years ago that almost nobody has read. A sealed jar, hidden inside a heart, hidden inside stone, 700 meters above a city. Whatever they put in there, they didn't want it to be easy to find. What's in it? The official answer is devotion, a tribute, a symbolic gesture. But I want you to sit with that image for a second. A sealed jar, hidden inside a heart, hidden inside stone, whatever they put in there. They didn't want it to be easy to find. But the heart wasn't the only thing sealed inside this statue. In fact, across the entire outer surface, every single inch of it, there are thousands more secrets, written by human hands, sealed into the stone, and nobody can ever read them again. Here's how they built the outside of this statue. The main structure is reinforced concrete, steel rods running through the body like a skeleton. Solid, engineered to survive hurricane-force winds. But concrete alone doesn't have the detail, the curves, the softness you need to make a human face. Human hands, human skin. 6 million tiles, each one cut by hand, each one placed by hand, like an enormous three-dimensional mosaic, assembled over years on scaffolding above the clouds. Now, here's the part that changes everything. The workers cutting those tiles, many of them women, from the families and communities who had fundraised to build this thing. They started doing something that was never officially asked of them. Before they placed a tile into position, they wrote on the back of it, names, prayers, messages to God, messages to the dead, names of sick children they were praying for, names of husbands lost at sea, secret confessions, love letters that could never be sent any other way. They wrote in the one place they knew would never be disturbed. Thousands of them, maybe tens of thousands, sealed behind stone, behind time, behind a monument that 2 million people visit every year, completely unaware that they are standing in front of the largest anonymous message board in human history. Those people, the ones who wrote those messages, they are all gone now. Most of them have been dead for decades, but their words are still there, still pressed against the back of the stone. In the dark, waiting. You'll never read them. I'll never read them. Nobody will. And here's the question I keep coming back to. Were they writing to God, or were they writing to us? Leave your answer in the comments. I genuinely want to know what you think. Okay, stay with me, because here's the part that nobody is talking about. The statue is changing, and they cannot stop it. Let me tell you about the stone. When D.A. Silva Costa chose a soapstone for those 6 million tiles, he sourced it from a specific quarry near the city of Ouro Preto. Light gray, almost white. He loved the way it caught the light over Rio. That quarry is now empty, gone, exhausted, very slowly, tile by tile, year by year. The statue is darkening. Every time a tile breaks, from rain, from wind, from the passage of time, they have to replace it with stone from a different source. Stone that doesn't match. Stone that's darker. The image that the whole world knows. That pale, almost glowing figure with arms open above Rio. That image is changing. And one day, maybe 50 years from now, maybe 100, it will look completely different. The thing they built to last forever is not lasting forever. Christ the Redeemer grows darker as time passes. The stone used in 1931 was a lighter shade. And now that it is in short supply, engineers use a darker shade stone during regular restoration projects. And there's something deeply human about that. Something that feels almost like a warning. But wait, it gets worse. One day it won't look like this at all. Due to the statue's mountaintop position, it is prone to lightning strikes and gets hit around 3 to 6 times a year. 3 to 6 times. Every single year. For almost a century. And sometimes the lightning wins. Prior to the FIFA World Cup in 2014, lightning struck and broke one of the statue's thumbs. The thumb of Christ the Redeemer, broken by lightning, before one of the most watched sporting events in human history. The engineers repaired it. They always repair it. But every repair uses more of the wrong stone. Every repair makes it slightly less like what it was. There's a word for that. Not in engineering. In philosophy, the ship of Theseus. The idea that if you replace every single part of something, is it still the same thing? When the last original tile of Christ the Redeemer is finally replaced. And that day is coming. Will it still be Christ the Redeemer? Or will it be something else? Something that looks like it. Something that stands in the same place, but isn't the same. I don't have the answer. I don't think anyone does. Now I need you to hold 2 ideas at the same time. Idea 1. This statue was built because people were afraid. Afraid that without something massive to point to, faith itself would disappear. They built it as an anchor, a monument to permanence. Idea 2. That monument is not permanent. Now I need you to hold 2 ideas at the same time. Idea 1. This statue was built because people were afraid. Afraid that without something massive to point to, faith itself would disappear. They built it as an anchor, a monument to permanence. Idea 2, that monument is not permanent. It gets struck by lightning. Its stone is running out. Its color is changing. Even the secret sealed inside it will eventually become unreadable dust. The thing they built to prove that something lasts forever is quietly, slowly, proving the opposite. And maybe that's the most honest thing about it. Because we all do this, don't we? We build things to last. We write things down. We take photos. We carve names into stone. We put messages in jars and seal them inside the things we love. Not because we believe they'll last forever, but because we need to believe that, even knowing they won't. Those women who wrote on the back of those tiles in 1926 and 1927 and 1928, they knew those tiles would one day be covered, sealed, unreachable. They chose to write anyway. That's not irrational. That's not superstition. That is the most human thing I have ever heard. So here's what I want to leave you with. Christ the Redeemer is not just a statue. It's not just a wonder of engineering or a postcard background. It is a container for fear and hope, and the desperate need to believe that what you do today will mean something tomorrow. It was built by people who were terrified the world was losing its soul. It was covered by the hands of women who needed to leave something behind. It is watched over every night by a sky that has struck it with lightning hundreds of times, and it is still standing. Maybe not forever, maybe not unchanged, but still standing. I think that's a real secret inside Christ the Redeemer. Not the glass jar, not the sealed messages, not the concrete heart. The secret is that every single person who built it, who tiled it, who wrote on the back of those stones, every single one of them knew it would eventually end. And they built it anyway. Here's my question for you, and I genuinely want your answer in the comments. If you could write one message on the back of one of those tiles, one sentence, sealed inside that statue forever, what would you write? Think about it. Drop it below. If this video hit different for you, share it, save it, come back to it, and subscribe to Dark Mysteries, because we don't do surface level here. See you in the dark.